Lil Durk might be facing life in prison, but there's a twist the feds don't want you to see. What really happened behind the scenes could change everything. Everyone thinks they know Lil Durk's legal case, but new evidence, secret deals, and unexpected betrayals could flip the story completely. You won't believe what comes next. Imagine being accused of a murder-for-hire plot without clear evidence. That's exactly what Lil Durk is fighting right now, and the truth will shock you. From secret recordings to shocking jail incidents, Lil Durk's legal battle is full of twists you've never heard before. Stick around, it only gets crazier. The feds are moving, witnesses are flipping, and Lil Durk's freedom hangs by a thread. What really happened could change everything. Watch closely. Lil Durk's legal team just made a major move. They've officially filed for his case to be dismissed, claiming prosecutors made a huge mistake in how they handled things. According to the new motion, Durk's lawyers argue that the second superseding indictment against him is way too vague. Basically, they're saying it's so unclear that it shouldn't even count as a proper charge. But they didn't stop there. If the judge decides not to throw the case out completely, Durk's legal team has a backup plan. They want what's called a bill of particulars. Now, that might sound complicated, but it's basically a legal way of saying, be specific. Durk's lawyers are asking prosecutors to lay everything out clearly. What exact words did Durk supposedly say? What was the so-called coded language? Who heard it? What was the bounty? When and where was it allegedly offered? And to whom? In other words, they're forcing the prosecution to stop speaking in vague terms and show their cards. From a legal perspective, this is a smart move. Prosecutors can't just accuse someone of organizing a crime. They need to prove every detail behind the accusation. If they can't, then it weakens their case dramatically. Durk's lawyers know this. They're confident the feds are bluffing, hoping pressure alone will make Durk fold. So they're calling their bluff in public, asking them to produce hard evidence, not rumors, not social media speculation, not lyrics twisted out of context. Inside those court filings, Durk's defense team went even further. They specifically asked for proof of when Durk supposedly offered money for a hit, the date, the time, the witnesses, and any actual messages or recordings that show he did it. They also want prosecutors to identify who supposedly received the bounty, what the reward was, and how the supposed plan was communicated. Normally, this kind of information would already be part of discovery, the evidence both sides share before trial. But prosecutors haven't provided it, which Durk's lawyers say is a red flag. That lack of transparency has led them to believe the government's case might be built on speculation rather than fact. If the feds really had strong evidence, like phone calls, bank transfers, or text messages, it would have been presented by now. Instead, everything still seems cloudy. This kind of legal chess game happens often in high-profile cases. The defense pushes for precision, while the prosecution tries to keep some cards hidden until trial. But in Durk's situation, the stakes are sky-high. A vague indictment means he's being accused without clarity, and that goes against his constitutional rights. Durk's attorneys are using that angle hard, arguing that the indictment is too broad, that it fails to describe the supposed crimes in detail, and that this vagueness violates due process. They're basically saying, you can't defend yourself against something that isn't clearly defined. And they have a point. If the court agrees, the judge could force prosecutors to rewrite the charges or, in the best-case scenario for Durk, dismiss them entirely. So right now, it's a waiting game. If the motion to dismiss fails, the next round will be all about that bill of particulars, a direct challenge to make the feds finally show what they've got. And if they don't have much? Then Durk's lawyers might just prove what they've been saying all along, that the government's case is built on smoke and speculation, not evidence. In simple terms, Durk's lawyers are saying, show us the proof. They're demanding to see real evidence that Lil Durk ever offered any kind of bounty on Quando Rondo. They want dates, times, the offer itself, everything. Normally, all of this would already be in the open by now. But prosecutors haven't produced anything concrete, which makes Durk's team suspect that the evidence might not even exist. Then, things took a bad turn for Durk inside jail. Not long after the legal filing, he was suddenly placed in solitary confinement. The reason? Officers claimed they found a cell phone in his cell, a serious offense behind bars. His supporters say it's nonsense, calling it another attempt to make him look bad or silence him. One person close to the situation said, they're saying he got caught with a phone, but that's not even true. They're just trying to keep him locked away, trying to prove a point because of who he is and the attention around his case. Before this happened, reports say there was an altercation inside the jail involving Durk. Word spread fast, and Lil Baby jumped on X, formerly Twitter, posting, "I don't care about nothing else other than Durk right now. Free the bro." Many believe this scuffle could be connected to the recent death of Durk's close friend, Glee, in Chicago, a loss that sparked tension and raised the question, who might be out for revenge? Right now, the streets are whispering that Quando Rondo's camp could be behind it. Remember, Durk's facing accusations tied to the shooting of Quando's friend, Lil Pab. And strangely, on the same day someone reportedly tried to attack Durk in jail, Quando and his associate Lil Tim both sat down for interviews. Instead of throwing shade, they took a surprisingly calm tone, saying they wish things had gone differently. Lil Tim even said, "I was just protecting my little brother. When I found out it was Vaughn, I was like, damn. If he hadn't done that stupid thing that night, he'd still be alive." He went on to explain that he meant no disrespect to King Von's family, saying he's a humble person and doesn't want to chase clout. He just believes the whole tragedy could have been avoided. Quando echoed that same energy, saying, "Everybody on my side got family, got kids. At the end of the day, all this back and forth is stupid. It could have been handled in a better way, even made into music, made money off it instead of losing lives. But not everyone is buying their calm attitude. Some fans think it's all an act, that they're just trying to look clean for the feds while still moving behind the scenes. Whatever the truth is, one thing's clear. The situation around Lil Durk keeps getting more intense, and every new twist only raises more questions." Quando Rondo even said that everything could have been settled in a totally different way. "Man, we could have made a song about it, made 3 or 4 million, handled it the right way, through music," he said. Hearing that from two of Lil Durk's biggest rivals caught everyone off guard. Suddenly, people who were once openly against him were showing respect. But not everyone's convinced it's genuine. Many fans believe Quando and his crew might be trying to play it smart, acting calm in public while plotting behind the scenes. And some think the sudden change of tone has to do with rumors that Durk could be getting out soon. That rumor started after Durk's father hinted that his son might finally be released on bond. This is Durk's third bond attempt, and according to reports, his legal team presented an offer strong enough that even the judge would have a hard time refusing. After leaving court, Durk's father shared his thoughts. "I just got out of the courtroom from my son's bond hearing. This time, the judge was fair, not biased toward the prosecution or the defense. He listened carefully to both sides and said he'd make a decision in the next few days. We're hopeful and grateful for all the prayers and support. Inshallah, we'll get a ruling in our favor." Meanwhile, prosecutors surprised everyone by suddenly dropping some of the evidence they'd been holding against Durk. During the hearing, they told the judge they were willing to throw out certain pieces, but instead of doing it quietly, they read them aloud in court first. That included Durk's own lyrics, where he rapped, "Told me they got an addy. They got the location. Go look on the news. See your son screaming no." That line eerily mirrors a real-life news report about Quando Rondo crying out after his friend Lil Pab was shot in Los Angeles. News outlets later shared footage of a passenger at the scene, panicking at the sight, a connection prosecutors seemed eager to highlight even as they dismissed the evidence. Many saw this as a dirty move, a way to paint Durk in a bad light in front of everyone before officially removing the evidence. The stunt sparked strong reactions online, including one from Charleston White, who celebrated the development. "This is a victory," Charleston said. "That demonic energy, that dark force, is finally dying out. I don't think we'll ever hear drill music the same way again. This is a win for people who love hip-hop but hate the violence that comes with it." While Charleston cheered, legal experts took a different view. One attorney pointed out that prosecutors backing away from their biggest claims actually showed how weak their case had become. He explained, "They originally accused Durk of paying a bounty through one of his co-defendants. But now they've completely backed off that. That tells me they once believed they could prove it, and now they know they can't." That's a major win for Durk. His official attorney, Drew, later broke it down even further, calling the charges a complete joke. He explained that the first indictment didn't even name Lil Durk, it listed others and only mentioned an unidentified person. 3 weeks later, prosecutors filed what's called a first superseding indictment, and this time, that unnamed person suddenly became Durk Banks. Other than that single change, the document was nearly identical, except for one small detail. The new version claimed Durk had released a music video that celebrated and monetized the alleged crime. That single new fact became their main addition, a weak foundation for such a serious case. Despite all this, the judge still decided to deny Durk's bond, at least for now. But with prosecutors backing off key claims and evidence falling apart, the tides might finally be turning in his favor. According to federal officials, if Lil Durk wants any chance of being released on bond, he'd have to give up nearly everything: his money, his houses, his cars, basically go broke. The feds argue that Durk's fortune could make him a danger if released, claiming he might use his resources to influence witnesses or even put bounties on them. So for now, there's no bond for Lil Durk. Here's why that decision was made and what options he has left. Durk's currently in federal court on a murder-for-hire charge, a crime that carries a possible life sentence. Under federal law, cases this serious come with a built-in assumption that the defendant shouldn't get bond. The burden falls on the defense to prove otherwise. The judge said the decision came down to a few main points. Durk's legal team offered to put up millions of dollars for his release, but not all of that money came directly from him. Some came from his label. The judge noted that Durk still has far more money and assets than what was being offered. So if he wanted to flee, he could easily fund his escape. That risk alone was enough for the judge to deny bond again. But fans who've been closely following the case believe there's more to the story. One user tweeted, "If you think Durk was denied bond because he's rich, you don't understand this case." They claimed the real reason was that day's brother, Ted, flipped on the crew. Reports say Ted's cooperation with the feds changed everything. Allegedly, bodycam footage shows Ted begging officers to let him snitch in exchange for leniency. This footage, if real, could be devastating for Durk's side. Durk's lawyers have since filed a request for more time to adjust their bond proposal, a sign they might be scrambling to find out exactly what Ted told investigators. For context, Ted is the brother of Day, known as one of Durk's main shooters, someone supposedly tied to multiple serious incidents. The police reportedly caught Ted with a firearm that had an extended magazine. After his arrest, instead of keeping quiet, Ted allegedly started offering information immediately. When officers took him into custody, he could be heard pleading, "Please, I'll tell you everything, I swear I'll tell you about the shootings. Just don't lock me up." Even as officers told him to calm down, Ted kept trying to make a deal, hoping he could talk his way out of the situation. At first, fans were confused. Court documents showed Day's last name, leading many to think he was the one snitching. But it was later confirmed that Ted and Day share the same last name, meaning it was Ted, not Day, cooperating with police. To make things even messier, rumors started spreading online that their cousin Vonnie was also cooperating with the feds. That's when one of Durk's close friends, View, went live to shut it down. "None of y'all really know what's happening," he said. "People online just making stuff up, acting like detectives. Y'all spreading lies that could get people hurt. That's exactly why I don't mess with anything illegal, folks, like you get people locked up for nothing." Still, the situation didn't calm down. It only got worse when DJ Academics released an interview with Vonnie's dad, who claimed Durk had something to do with King Von's death. He said it was a setup, a backdoor. "I've got all the pieces." According to him, Durk allegedly asked Vonnie, "Is it open?" and Vonnie replied, "It's off the hinges." That cryptic exchange reignited debate online, with some fans convinced it proves there's far more happening behind the scenes than the public knows, while others say it's just another wild rumor in an already chaotic case. After Vonnie's father's interview dropped, everything spiraled. He began by recalling a strange exchange between Durk and Vonnie right after the alleged payment was made to Lil Tim. According to him, Durk asked Vonnie, "Was it open?" and Vonnie replied, "It's off the hinges." That one line shocked fans. People started asking, "Wait, are you saying Vonnie backdoored King Von?" But Vonnie's father quickly denied that. He said the story wasn't that simple. There had to be a motive behind everything. He claimed he even had bank records and lawyer text messages that could prove who told on Durk and who flipped first. To him, the situation didn't make sense unless you looked at the bigger picture. King Von and Lil Durk were facing a criminal case together before Von's death. After Von was killed, that case ended in a private settlement, which, according to him, likely meant Durk shifted the blame onto Von, since Von couldn't defend himself anymore. He went further, suggesting jealousy might have also played a role. Von was quickly rising and starting to outshine Durk, both musically and publicly. "You can't bring someone into the business and then watch them pass you up," he said. Nobody wants their spot taken. But everyone around him. Agents began reviewing footage from that same Instagram live, focusing on the people in the background. They claimed those individuals were tied to the hit on Lil Pab and even had old connections to King Von back in the day. To investigators, it looked like a chain reaction, a revenge cycle that started after Von's death and spiraled out of control. Then another piece of potential evidence surfaced. Prosecutors pointed to one of Durk's own Instagram stories, posted just 30 minutes after the crime connected to Stefan Mack. In it, Durk wrote a short message for his brother D-Tang, one that prosecutors believe was a coded acknowledgement. The next day, Durk went live again, this time laughing, celebrating, and acting unfazed. To his fans, it was just Durk being Durk. But to the feds, it looked like something else entirely, a man taunting his enemies while the investigation closed in. Things took another twist when DJ Academics sat down with Lil Durk's lawyer to ask the question everyone wanted to know: would they ever take a plea deal? Academics didn't hold back. Is there any chance Durk's team might entertain a plea? Or is this one of those all-or-nothing situations? Durk's lawyer was firm. This is a conspiracy case. It's all or nothing. Durk did not participate in any conspiracy to commit murder. There's no middle ground here. It's either he's guilty or he's innocent, and we're here to prove he's innocent. The lawyer made it clear that Durk isn't interested in cutting deals. They want to fight to clear his name completely. But what makes this case even more interesting is the First Amendment defense Durk's legal team plans to use. They argue that many of the evidence points prosecutors are using, like lyrics and videos, fall under freedom of speech. As one of Durk's lawyers explained, he's an artist. He's expressing himself. Just because he raps about violence or street life doesn't mean he actually did those things. You can't criminalize creativity. They compared it to country or rock songs that talk about revenge or fighting, saying the law shouldn't treat rap differently just because of its raw language or street tone. If we start prosecuting artists for lyrics, the lawyer said, then we're basically saying the First Amendment doesn't apply to hip-hop. Some legal experts agreed that this argument could actually help Durk, especially since the feds still haven't shown any solid, direct evidence linking him to the alleged crimes. One attorney compared Durk's case to Young Thug's, saying, in Atlanta, they used Young Thug's lyrics as evidence too, and while they technically got a conviction, he ended up walking out on time served. Most of those cases fell apart. That shows how weak this type of evidence can be. They also pointed out that prosecutors often don't understand rap culture, and that misunderstanding could become a major flaw in their case. Prosecutors read lyrics literally, another lawyer said. But in hip-hop, a lot of things are metaphorical or coded. You have to understand the culture, the context, the slang, the audience. Without that, it's easy to twist the meaning of what's being said. Still, while Durk's team seems confident, the feds are making new moves of their own. Inside the courtroom, rumors started spreading about a new informant, someone else ready to talk. Prosecutors even delayed Durk's bond hearing to gather last-minute evidence from this new source. And then, the internet started buzzing. The name that came up was Brick Baby, a Los Angeles rapper known for his ties to the Rollin' 60s. Just a week before the delay, federal agents had arrested Big U, Brick Baby, Loose Cannon, and others in what they called a major Rollin' 60s takedown. Sources close to the situation claim that Brick Baby's arrest might connect directly to Durk's case, and that the feds could be pressuring him to talk. Lawyers following the case pointed out how suspicious the timing was, saying it looked like the feds were lining everything up to squeeze Brick Baby for information about Durk. And the wild part? Brick Baby himself might have already hinted at knowing something. Back when Lil Pab was killed, Brick Baby said in an interview that people can't say Durk didn't slide for Von, suggesting Durk may have gotten revenge for King Von's death. He even added, "If Durk asked for a location, I probably would have dropped it for him." That comment has now become a key focus for investigators, because if Brick Baby really did share that location, it could connect him directly to the hit on Quando Rondo's team, where Lil Pab lost his life. The feds are now trying to figure out whether Brick Baby leaked Quando Rondo's location, and if he did, whether it was part of a larger plot ordered by Lil Durk. At this point, everything is hanging in the balance. Durk's defense team is standing strong, claiming he's innocent and being targeted unfairly. But behind the scenes, the feds seem to be building pressure, flipping witnesses, digging through old lyrics, and trying to connect the dots in one of hip-hop's most watched criminal cases.